Growing up shy. Teacher. Okay, you will be working with partners for this activity. Me. Panics. Kid. Can we pick our own groups? Teacher. No. Me. Long internal sigh of relief. I hate it when men make fun of women for being vain. Like, you've structured society in such a way that we spend our entire lives chasing after the fleeting moments where we really and truly feel good about our appearances, and then have the audacity to mock us for trying to look pretty, like you're constantly telling us to. Shut the F up. You painted a naked woman because you enjoyed looking at her, put a mirror in her hand, and you called the painting vanity, thus morally condemning the woman whose nakedness you had depicted for your own pleasure. John Berger, Ways of Seeing. Hi. Just a reminder, this was the decade that Vimoni Smicket wrote I will love you as misfortune loves orphans, as fire loves innocence, and as justice loves to sit and watch everything go wrong. And I think it is the greatest love poem in existence. Any story claiming to be a deconstruction of fairy tales, but has nothing to offer except new types of violence, more explicit sex, and a general attitude of lol, happy endings aren't real, is like such a cultural waste of time, to be honest. Know what actually is a good deconstruction of a fairy tale? Shrek. It f up just about everything in a normal fairy tale and still manages to have a happy ending with a good message, and never once has to be gritty or dark. It's actually really well done. The trouble is that we have a bad habit, encouraged by pedants and sophisticates, of considering happiness as something rather stupid. Only pain is intellectual, only evil interesting. This is the treason of the artist, a refusal to admit the banality of evil and the terrible boredom of pain. Ursula Le Guin, The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas. In dark times such as these, it is absolutely revolutionary to be happy. I love when evil aristocrat characters have evil forms of address. Your royal lowness, your disgrace, your dishonor, your unholy majesty. Kicks down door. Prime Minister. DD, did you just kick down your own door? Listen, I was in a hurry. Repairs door frame and door. Rehinges door. Oils the hinges. Kicks down door. Senator. Do we have a flavor called cup of coffee? Haha, this is funny, and I'm on social security, and refuse to learn any information outside of what I learned in from my K-12 years. To be honest, I read this as the barista roasting the F out of him for not saying something on the menu, lol. Yeah, like the mental image of someone walking up to a barista and being like, can I have a cup of coffee? Yes. This is a coffee shop. Be more specific. Hi, welcome to Subway. I'd like the sandwich. What in tarnation is really what in the entire nation with southern accent? It's time for the fascinating history of the word tarnation, which has nothing to do with the word nation. In 18th century America, there was a trend of finding nicer ways to say curse words, so they could shout exclamations without committing blasphemy. Heckin' gosh originated at this time. What in Sam Hill was just a censored way of saying what the hell. Damn and damnation became darn and darnation. At the time, the word eternal was mostly associated with God and heaven, so the slang term tarnal was created to speak about eternity without invoking God. The new soft curse word darnation sounded a bit like the slang word tarnal, so people mashed them into tarnation. What in tarnation means what in eternal damnation, which also means what the hell, which also means what in Sam Hill, thanks to a bunch of Americans in the 1700s wanting to say bad words without incurring the Lord's wrath, working around God's wrath. Do you ever think of how weird it would be if Mickey Mouse's name was actually Michael? And how weird it would be if one day Minnie called him Michael Mouse because she was upset with him? Because I think about it sometimes. I have just been informed that Mickey's full name is Michael Theodore Mouse, and that Minnie's is Minerva Mouse. I don't know what to do with this information, but I feel like I know something forbidden now. I feel like this is a good time to share the fact that Donald Duck's middle name is Fauntleroy. I like to imagine the animator laughing their ass off at this in between as they drew it, then being a little sad that since it only lasts a fraction of a second, no one would bear witness to this masterpiece. Shout out to the 411 Target employee who I asked to help me find the belts, to be met with her looking up at my 6 feet 3 inches 16-year-old self and asking kids belts like, "Miss, I outgrew kids clothes as a kid." Although she was very nice and helpful. 10/10. When she showed me the adult belts, I asked if they had a small, because I'm tall, but my waistline ain't, and it was still too big for the kids. So I asked her where the women's belts were, and that's the story of how I got a sick ass bedazzled belt on clearance for $4. And special shout out to the two lesbians employees who tried to help me find a self-cleaning hairbrush, but there wasn't any, and she apologized and gave me directions to a store that had a much better selection. That would have one of those since they didn't, and then I found there was a self-cleaning hairbrush for dogs in the pet section. So I took it to them and asked if this would work well on me, and they said to go try it out. And if it doesn't work like that, they'd give me a refund. You two were so fucking helpful. Thank you. My hair's never been so untangled, and it's not a pain in the ass to clean the fallen hair off it. Honestly, being a vampire, who is also a goth kid, is the best possible cover. Nobody's gonna think the kid in all black, with an umbrella and sunglasses, and a shirt that says "Bite Me" is actually a vampire. They'll just think you're a goth kid, pretending to be a vampire. I drink blood to sustain myself, and to heal mortal wounds. Heh, yeah. Sure yeah do Kyle. One of my favorite things in fiction is when one of the villains realizes the error of their ways and joins, or is forcibly adopted into, the hero team, but refuses to change their aesthetic to match the rest of the group. So it's like, the rest of the team, the reformed villain. All of human history has led us to the moment that we developed the technology to digitally add a top hat to a photo an adorable miniature octopus. Julius Caesar's assassination was the last time everyone in a group project did their part. Apart from the fact that 60 people agreed to stab him, and he only had 23 stab wounds. Sounds about right. I think we should just be able to use counterfeit money. Like, who cares? Oh, boo-hoo, I can't accept this. Well, I worked really hard on it. Me, bleeding to death. Help. Me. Friend running in. What happened? Who did this to you? Me, pointing. D. He did it. The murderer in the distance. OP is an ant. I had the misfortune of seeing this in person, and almost started crying. Open RP. Hey, can I get 7 large cokes and a BBQ sauce? Is Pepsi okay? I guess. I said sulking, my amber hued orbs peering down, because of gravity. Okay. I hand you 7 large cokes and a Pepsi. It's not problematic to sexualize Bernie Sanders. But like, why? My grandmother said Bernie Sanders could get it word for word and would know how to treat a lady and what to do with a lady's treats. How do you delete someone else's post? My best friend's 102-year-old sex ed activist great-grandmother is known for shouting "There's my boyfriend" whenever Bernie Sanders comes on TV, while her husband is sitting next to her. Bernie dropping granny panties. Voldemort hellbent on being the DA professor is so funny to me, because imagine some whole fascists rise up to attempt world domination, and their leader is your old maths teacher Mr. Tom. Okay, but Dada is specifically a branch of magic meant to fight against the sort of magic that Voldemort did. So really, isn't it more accurate for Mr. Tom to be near economics or history teacher? He was one of history's greatest monsters, and he was a bee about accepting late work. The phrase "curiosity killed the cat" is actually not the full phrase. It actually is "curiosity killed the cat," but satisfaction brought it back, so don't let anyone tell you not to be a curious little baby. Okay, go and be interested in the world you woo. See also, blood is thicker than water. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Meaning that relationships formed by choice are stronger than those formed by birth. Let's not forget that jack of all trades, master of none, ends with "but better than a master of one." It means that being equally good / average at everything is much better than being perfect at one thing and sucking at everything else. So don't worry if you're not perfect at something you do. Being okay is better. These made me feel better. Also, great minds think alike ends with but fools rarely differ. It goes to show that conformity isn't always a good thing. And that, just because more than one person has the same idea, doesn't necessarily mean it's a good idea. What the F? Why haven't I heard the full version to any of these? Birds of a feather flock together ends with until the cat comes. It's actually a warning about fair weather friends, not an assessment of how complimentary people are. I've always felt like these were cut down on purpose. I really like these phrases and plan on spreading this knowledge. The early bird catches the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. I want to make designs out of these. Funny how all the half-finished ones encourage uniformity and upholding the status quo, while the complete proverbs encourage living exciting eclectic lives driven by choice and personal passion. I was high off my ass last night and had this dream where I was in this dense forest and sitting there was a tall woman. She was so tall I couldn't see her face, but she was wearing gold and I was like, oh hi. And she said, I made you, do you know that? And I nodded and she was like, I hear your thoughts. Why do you hate my creation? Why do you try to destroy yourself? I made you perfect as you are. Please, don't break my heart. Then she started crying and it flooded and I woke up with f***ing heart palpitations. Like what does it mean? You met God B. Let's get you some self-care. Polar opposite of this post. Had a dream where I was sitting in a dark office and reality felt really altered and strange and there was just a fish tank illuminating the room and then this f***ing fish looked at me and grinned with human teeth and in this super deep voice said, you've been here a while, better wake up before you forget how to, and I f***ing woke up in a cold sweat. Dude, I think you went to hell. In 2012 an 11-year-old boy ran away from his mother while shopping close to Manchester airport. He then boarded a flight to Rome, bypassing security without a passport or boarding card, and then into a seat by tagging behind another family. He was on his way to Italy before the crew realized. Reverse Home Alone. Rome Alone. Star Wars and Harry Potter are two franchises that try to claim textually that it doesn't really matter who your family is, whilst showing subtextually that it unequivocally does matter who your family is. Isn't that basically the same as all movies that insist that strength and looks don't matter, only what's in your heart, then having characters with strength and looks save the day and also be the most morally virtuous? Star Wars. You're either a Skywalker / Palpatine, a side character, or cannon fodder. Harry Potter. Those inbred pureblood supremacists think they're so special being descended from the most ancient wizarding families. Well, they are. I was babysitting a kid the other day and I asked if he watched Steven Universe and he sighed and said, I know I would like it if I watched it and I will eventually. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, you know? Which is the answer I'd expect from a 35-year-old who just got asked if he watches House of Cards.